Have you ever looked at a SharePoint list that you've created with maybe hundreds of rows and thought there has to be a better way to visualize this? Or maybe you're spending hours exporting data into Excel or Power BI, and when the information is already sitting inside of SharePoint. So, how are you currently reporting on business data stored in SharePoint? And how many of you export data, list data into Excel just to go back and build charts and some graphs based on that? Well, today I'm going to show you a much easier way that we can do this by using Copilot, and so that's going to be our topic today: is building some meaningful dashboards just using lists that we already have inside of our SharePoint sites. And so we're going to take a look at that. That'll be our focus today. Let's get started. All right, here we are inside of one of my SharePoint sites that I had just spun up earlier today. Okay, full disclosure, I actually let Copilot completely build this entire site. I literally did nothing to the site except for structure some of the navigation, and that's really about it that we'll talk about. If you want to learn how to do that, we'll probably maybe do a video on that, but it's relatively straightforward here. We just go into our admin center, go into create a site here, and then we just had Copilot do it. We give it the parameters and what we're looking for, and it does a pretty darn good job. Now, of course, there's things that we can do, but nothing's really dead here, even though it gives us, this is all demo data that I asked for, and I did ask for demo data. And so I'm really honing in on one specific area. And by the way, we can go in here, we can look at delivery overview. So the scenario is here, let's just say we have a SharePoint site. And on the SharePoint site, maybe in this case, we have, maybe we're tracking clients that my team is doing some AI readiness or Copilot readiness and some governance, um, assessments and that sort of thing that we're doing for different clients here. And maybe we're tracking some of our processes and artifacts here in document libraries, but maybe our tracking of all of this stuff might be here in lists, right? So in SharePoint lists. So for example, we got clients here, and we can look at this client list. By the way, Copilot created this for me, and I just had it. And you can do this through the SharePoint Builder and through AI, but there's also a list agent inside of Copilot Chat as well that just can create the list for you. And then, of course, you can attach it into a SharePoint site. But neither here nor there. We have our client name, engagement status, perhaps, different fields that we want, and we can go in, of course, and we can ask Copilot right here to modify any of this if we want to. So but this is just an example, maybe some notes and so forth. So we're tracking some clients, where they're at in our process through the maybe a Copilot readiness program that we have, right? And so we've got other lists here, so maybe some risks. I haven't honestly looked at all of this, but we could look at some different risk that we can assess through here, some notes related to that. And so we've got all these lists here, and these are good. These definitely help us, but typically what would we do? Typically we would go and we would either share this to somebody, or we would export it out to a CSV or new Excel file, or we can even export it into Power BI, which is very good. If you've got all of that, licensing and everything intact. And frankly, I'm not a data guy. I'm not a Power BI expert by any means. But what we can do, though, is we can ask Copilot to create a dashboard for us from this. So let's start with, say, clients here. We'll do this kind of in a couple phases and stages, and we'll show you how we can do this. So number one, I want to take this list, and I want to create a nice interactive dashboard. So what I might do is I can come in here and I can go right in here to to chat. Okay, and we can do ask all kinds of things, like edit the list, do different things. I'm just gonna open. You know what? We're just gonna do it right here, and I'm gonna say create a detailed interactive dashboard from this list. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. I can give it a lot of parameters that I want. You know what? I'm just going to add enable, search, drop downs, filtering, etc. Right? We just want to make it very interactive, not just a dashboard that has our data on it. Right? I want to be able to manipulate the data, much like you might in a Power BI or something like that. So we're just going to do this prompt. Let's just see what happens. Some of these that may take a little bit of time. I may have to pause the video. I'll let you know when I'm going to do that. This one here should not take that long. So my expectation here is that this is going to finish a nice dashboard. It's going to give me an HTML file for this dashboard here. And so, and then I can click that and take a look. So we'll give it just a second. If it takes too long, we'll pause the video and come back, but we'll just hang out for a second here. So here we go. So we're generating this HTML. So the nice thing about this is anytime this list changes, the file, that HTML file changes also. It updates. And this is not, we don't have to go ask Copilot to go in and update it. It has will have a refresh in it. But the nice thing is this is just a file. We can move this anywhere we want. It will become a file, an artifact inside the SharePoint site. But as we go on, we're going to kind of really control a lot more about that and how it behaves and what we can do, and do it in larger quantities. So see what's happened here. Okay, it's working, it's thinking, it's doing its thing. We can see all of the reasoning that it's doing here when we expand this. So there's the dashboard. It's included a live list refresh, all of this. Okay, all right. Now, I will pause that for just a second. Actually, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to copy that link there just for a second, because where this probably ended up is just in our site context. I'm going to see where it might have shown up here, and let's just see if it ended up in here. Okay. So it ended up just in documents, so in document library. In any case, either way, we're gonna do more with that here in just a second. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go see, this opens up here. This should take us right back here. We're gonna click this link, and it is going to take us to this interactive dashboard. Okay, and so we've got the search, we've got the statuses, what's in discovery. Okay, gives us some of the client name that are in that kind of in that phase of our processes. So we can drill in here what's high. So again, really kind of nice here. We can work with this dashboard here. It's going to, the live dashboard will refresh as the data refreshes. And of course, we can go out and ask it to refresh in real time here. And of course, we can open this in different ways. We can also share this pretty much just a file, as you saw, it's part of the contents there. And so that's kind of where that is. So nice. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this. Okay, so we'll delete this file here. Now I'm actually going to go to, let's see, I'm going to drop this into document libraries here. And then actually, let me do this. Let me drop this into, come on, it's miscellaneous documents. Okay, there is that dashboard. I'm going to refresh this and see if that goes away. If it does not shortly, I can just go ahead and we're just going to get rid of this file, okay? Because I don't need the file, so it's in that document library is where it is. Now, I didn't tell it where to put it or anything, okay? But one thing that we can do here is I can go in and maybe, I've got all these lists, and I can do that. I can create, I'm going to go in here and do a new chat here. Actually, let me do, I think we've got maybe a new chat. We'll go here. So, but I can go in and I can create all of these all of these document libraries, or rather all of these dashboards individually. But what about if we went and we created all of them at the same time and said exactly where we would like to put them? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a prompt, and I have the prompt saved just because it's a little lengthy. It's not real long, but it is it is a little bit lengthy here, and so we'll go ahead and just paste that in here. And I've got this just in my clipboard history, and I'm going to drop this right here. And that is not it. We're going to delete that because what we're going to do is we're going to clear that. And I have one prompt here. There we go. So we're going to say, you're a SharePoint expert. I want you to create interactive dashboards with search, drop down, sort fields from all of my list and on the SharePoint site, and create each HTML dashboard into a dashboards document library and add to navigation under document libraries. Now I can tell you that it won't actually do this part of it. Okay. I'm going to just take that out because I know it won't do it. It will not put it here, but it will add it to the navigation, and then we can just simply add it into there if we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to say all of these lists, I want to create a document libraries dashboard, a new document libraries called dashboard. I want all those lists to be centralized in that, or all of those dashboards centralized there. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to pause because it will take just a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this prompt started here. And then once that gets going, I'm going to pause, and I will come right back as soon as this is completed. I won't even navigate away from here. As soon as it's completed, I'll be right back and we'll take a look. See you shortly. All right, did not take that long. It took a little bit longer only because I did make one modification. I'm going to show you what that is. So in my prompt, I decided to make sure I told it I wanted a separate dashboard out of each list, because sometimes it will create just it'll guess and just create a combined dashboard out of all the lists, which is fine. But I wanted a separate list and dashboard for each one. And then, but I also did say, go ahead and make a combined dashboard. And so we can see that it created dashboard, document library, and added it to the site navigation, and it added 8 of them, and then it did create that combined one, which I asked it to do. And so I am going to just close this, and then I'm going to, we can see the dashboard here. I'm going to refresh just to see, make sure everything's settled. And we'll see the dashboards here. Now, it did not put it, I took it out of the prompt. If you recall, I took it out of the prompt. It did not put it here. Now, I could easily move this or create this into the edit navigation and move this here, which is probably where I would do it, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that it did create the document library, and it created our dashboards here, and they're very interactive dashboards. So if I were to go here, for example, and say, let's take a look at the client's dashboard, and it should open that up. And now we have very more interactive, so we can see there's 15 rows and fields, and of course very customizable. I could ask Copilot to do any number of things to this. We can search different fields, but we can go in and say client name, and then any particular value, etc. So we can do a lot there. I'm going to close that one. Let's just pop into another one here. Let's do governance controls and just see. I'm just kind of guessing around here. So if we say control name, and it's monthly adoption dashboard review, etc., we can go in. So just and there's just so much more we can do there. Now I'm going to look at the combined dashboard. I'm just curious. I've not really seen this. So here are the okay. So here are the different dashboards here. I kind of like the way this is laid out. I can search these dashboards, but let's do readiness assessments. And we can go into that. I don't know if it's clickable, so I don't know how much client workshops. Yeah, I don't know how much that's going to really do us a lot there because I just didn't ask it to create a ton there on the combined front. But again, I can go in and look at each of these dashboards, and I could have asked it to be as much more granular and add graphics and different heat maps and all kinds of things. As much detail as anytime we're working um, with Copilot, it's um, always a good idea to give it just as much possible information that we can. So, anyway, that is just a little bit on how we can create some of these dashboards built right into and directly out of lists, and make our data come alive a little bit more. And so, anyway, that's it. So that is some of our dashboard creation using Copilot against a Microsoft list. And I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching.